Well, Dean, what a night for Bournemouth. Another big club scalp.
Yeah, I mean, we know it's difficult to come here. We know we make it difficult for the big teams and all the teams, really. And yeah, it's a really exciting win.
And for you personally, first goal in the Premier League, you will remember this night for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think every little boy dreams of playing in the Premier League. And yeah, I'm just so happy to get my first goal. It's definitely a special memory.
And tell us about it. That's clearly a set piece you'd worked on.
Yeah, I mean, it's all due to our trainer. We scored a few set piece goals because of him, and yeah, it was my job to finish it, and I did. So yeah, great.
And the moment itself?
Yeah, how do you say in English?
A dream?
No, when you feel like.
Oh, I see. Goosebumps.
Yeah, goosebumps. Yeah, goosebumps moment. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Now, what was key for Bournemouth tonight? I suppose maybe the disappointment is you didn't finish the game with more goals.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely work on that. But, as a team, we worked great. We all worked really hard to get this win.
Do you think there was a greater urgency about you at times?
A greater what, sorry?
Urgency? Do you think in your play you maybe were showing a physicality that Tottenham struggled with?
Well, we also know Tottenham's a very physical team. And I think it was a great matchup and a great match to watch for anyone watching at home or in the stadium.
And what about this team now? What's possible this season?
Well, first of all, we need to avoid relegation. But I think we have a little bit more in us. So maybe, who knows, maybe we can get a Conference League place or something if we keep pushing like this.
And for you personally now, it's about staying in the team, isn't it? Just 19, you're Bournemouth's youngest ever goal scorer, in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, it's a special thing, yeah. Hopefully I can stay in the team and I can carry on playing.
Brilliant tonight. You are as well player of the match. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well, at 19, it's going to be a day to remember as far as he's concerned. Scoring his first Premier League goal. They've unearthed maybe another star of the future.
Well, listen, let's not get carried away. I mean,
their recruitment has been very good.
Absolutely, just like Brighton as well. These teams they're recruiting very, very well. Fulham, what we've seen tonight. This is why it's a crazy tough league this year. Every point is precious, and you've got to fight for it. Spurs didn't fight enough tonight.
Yeah,
but it's lovely to see the young kid, his first goal, playing 19 years of age, and a big centre back, which is going to have a bright future. He really is.
One thing he said, interestingly, and he was asked what's the aim for Bournemouth this season, and he said, well, to avoid relegation. Are they not beyond that point now?
Yeah, but I think, like Glenn said, I know Glenn keeps mentioning it, how tight the league is. It should always be your first priority and then see where you go. So I think he's also managing expectations from us, keeping them grounded. I'm sure there's an internal kind of finish that they're trying to get towards, but obviously it's to kind of manage the expectations from us more so, not them.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look at his goal then, shall we? It was the all-important goal. It's the goal that gives them another notable 3 points. It comes from a set piece from a Spurs perspective.
Oh, it's poor marking. They've gone man for man. Dragason's trying to be picking him up. He loses him completely. Look, he's watching the ball, and Huijsen just comes round the back unopposed. It's a really good header back across Forster. And you cannot defend like that. If you're going to go man for man, it's touch tight. Make sure it's dog eat dog. You're not going to score over my body. You're going to score. And there was not that at all. He's drifted off him. Look, he drifts off. He actually ends up on the line, Dragasson. If you watch Dragasson, it ends up, look, I know I'm out of position. Can I save myself by getting back and clearing it off the line? And the big centre-back there is free as a bird, and it's dreadful defending again.
I wonder, can we play that again? Because even on that, I actually think back on there that they're marking the same player. The same clip. It looked like it, at the start of it. We just see it now.
It's Davis, isn't it?
And Davis have both got hands on the same player.
Well, yeah,
but I mean, and then he's like, he doesn't even look at him.
I'm not sure.
So it's all over the shop, isn't it?
Yeah, but Davis is with his man. He stays with his man.
But
Dragasson just lets him go. He watches the ball as well. The flight of the ball, that ball from a kid. I always used to say to players, you've still got 2 seconds for that ball to come in flight. Don't watch the ball. Don't get engrossed in the ball. That ball ain't going to change. Watch the man. And then you can adjust yourself to the ball. Everyone, their eyes go on the ball. So your marker can go anywhere. You lost him.
Yeah.
So as soon as that ball's in flight, the whole of the defensive team, not just Tottenham, they watch the ball. But you don't need to. You can still be looking and say, that ball isn't going to... That's still got 2 seconds to arrive in the box. And an attacker can make a lot of movement in 2 seconds.
You're saying it's too easy from a Spurs perspective.
Yeah.
Have you seen that too many times this season?
Definitely. I think that's an Achilles heel that they haven't put right over this season and certainly probably I think last season as well. It's a vulnerability that they haven't put right, and it's going to cost you games. You can see Arsenal, how many times they go up expecting to score. Well, if you're a Tottenham player now, you're almost expecting maybe we're going to concede. That's not a good feeling. It really isn't.
What did you think of the tempo from Spurs throughout the game?
I thought the tempo from Bournemouth was excellent and they couldn't match it. You know, we were speaking off air about the physicality that was lacking from Spurs. I know they're missing some big physical players, Romero van der Ven and the other midfielder has gone off the top. Bentancur, who will put themselves about a little bit. But I thought the tempo wasn't where it is, and that's what I was speaking about. When Maddison and Kulusevski and Son aren't on it, it's not the same.
There's a collective dip. Form. OK, we'll dig a little bit deeper as to what's going wrong with Tottenham at the minute, but let's hear from their head coach in the wake of that result. Here's Ange Postecoglou.
Ange, a tough one for Tottenham tonight. How do you sum it up?
It's not good enough. I think we're kind of, again, fell into the trap of started the game really well, sort of had control, conceded a really poor goal, really poor goal, and and then we kind of lose our way a little bit and allow sort of Bournemouth to play the game they wanted to. Again, had our moments in the second half, but weren't able to get the goal.
Was there an urgency maybe that Bournemouth had, a greater urgency, do you think?
I don't know about urgency. Like I said, we started the game well, but we just have this sort of propensity to shoot ourselves in the foot when really we should be taking control of games, and they're hard to beat here, and what you don't want to do is give them a goal that gives them that sort of momentum they need.
In terms of, you said that there was a spell at the start of the second half. Were you then slightly disrupted by Ben Davies going off? You had to reshuffle a little bit?
No, not really. I don't think so. I think, like I said, we sort of started playing with a bit more conviction at the beginning of the second half and created some chances. But again, like when we just make things difficult for ourselves by, like I said, allowing the opposition to kind of let the game go in the direction they want.
Is that a mental thing?
It's not mental, it's physical, it's a whole range of things, but ultimately it's not good enough.
And you go, of course, from 12 days ago at Manchester City in your last away game to this, and there are Spurs fans who'll look at this and be baffled.
Yeah, rightly so. I think they've got every right to be disappointed with the way we went tonight.
You went over at the end, and I think we're trying to maybe have a word with a supporter or two.
No, I wasn't having a word. I mean, they're pretty disappointed, rightly so, and I've got some pretty direct feedback as to how we're going, and it's fair enough. And
it's a key spell now, isn't it? I think it's Chelsea, United and Liverpool, 3 of the next 4 games. Yeah,
they're all big games. We've got to get sort of ourselves out of this space we're in at the moment, where we're just not able to, get a real grip on our season, and we'll have to sort of refocus for Sunday.
Thank you, Ange.
Thank you, bud.
Well, on more than one occasion, he said the words "not good enough." And always his demeanour after a lot of games this season, it does seem quite down. Do you want him to be more positive in the wake of a setback here and there?
No, I think you want him to be honest, and I think his expression is that he's honest. He's absolutely gutted. We heard the same thing at Ipswich when they lost to Ipswich and Palace. It's not good enough. That's not good enough. We're disappointed. Well, then you've got to work to make sure that you don't replicate that performance again, and that hasn't happened. That's a pattern. I always look for patterns, whether it's good or bad, and you've got to stop them, or you've got to keep them going if they're good. So there's a pattern there. They've got to get up. They played against Man City. That is like a different team from a different planet that we saw tonight compared to their last away game, when they're pressing, they're on the front foot, they're zipping, they're all pressing together. Karen and I did something before the game about the way they press, the energy levels that were there, the crispness in their passing. Nowhere near it, and probably not in those 2 other games, Ipswich and Palace. And they took advantage, those teams. Don't get me wrong. as Bournemouth did today, and Bournemouth could have won it by 4. But at the end of the day, you know, for Ange to come out, it's always difficult as a manager when you've lost and it's a disappointing performance. For me, they never, ever really controlled the game. They never got in control of that game.
Glenn, being a former manager, how do you get the consistency from the players? Because, like you said, like it feels like when they're at 100%, you get the cities, you get those greens that we saw there. Yeah. But then it's such a drop. How do you get in and install them? And what is it? Is it mentality?
It's a mentality.
Is it a playing style?
It's a mentality. I think there's things there at Tottenham that there's some playing styles that's got to change. There really has, because it's repetition, the set plays, the conceding, the goals, how they're playing out from the back, the chances they're conceding themselves. There's certain, mainly defensive ways that have got to change, in my opinion, because going forward at times they can be scintillating. But the only thing at the moment, Karen, that's consistent is the inconsistency. The poor performances against the likes of Ipswich, Palace, Bournemouth. And then they get up for Man City. And then they go and beat Man United away. So that's the inconsistent. That's not just this year. It's over a period of time with Tottenham. But it's a mental thing. It's more mental than anything else. And, you know, players there looked frightened to pass in the end. They were timid in the way they were trying to win the ball back. There was no collective winning of the ball back again, like you saw when they're at their best. They want it together. And they just look dismantled.
It's interesting you say it's a psychological thing, because that point was just made to Ange, saying, is it a mental issue? Ange almost scoffed at that idea or that notion.
Well, I think, you know, after a game and a disappointment, he'll be hurting inside.
So is that just a defensive response?
This is the tough thing as a manager. You have to come out and face the music. And you want to come out and win every week and say, you know, it's lovely, life's lovely. But it's not like that. And he's had to fight himself. He can't go on there and slag the players off completely.
No.
He'll go in the dressing room. He's had a little bit of stick from the crowd. I know, he said, it's my responsibility. That's what he's saying. Yeah. So the thumbs up, I think, was when he said, what did he say? He said it in a very cute way. But I was directly told or something.
No, he was giving some direct feedback.
Feedback. That's how he put it. And I think that was what a couple of them fans would have been saying.
Yeah.
But no, there's a lot of work to be done there at Tottenham. It's you know, it's never going to be an easy ride with the way that Ange wants to play. And at the moment, what he's looking for, and he'd be disappointed more than anything, is that consistency. 1 minute they're up there and the next minute they're down there. And you, as a manager now and a set of players, you've got to try and find some middle ground to get results.
They continue to play the Ange way, and he's come out on more than one occasion saying, look, it's either my way or no other way. I don't want to be like everybody else. So they continue to this, you know, to this philosophy of playing out from the back. And we saw Fraser Forster get himself in some rather tricky situations. But, you know, even if it backfires, they continue.
Yeah, I mean, look, to be fair on that one, they've tried to go a little bit more direct.
Yeah.
So that's not. But now it's about the defensive responsibility and being fragile, not in the positions, too timid, like Glenn mentioned there, and they're at themselves. So I think that's a defensive, and Dragoson calls them out. But Forster isn't a ball-playing goalkeeper. He's at Southampton. This is not his strength. So he's actually, the team's philosophy isn't actually great for him. And there, the pass is weak, but also where he passes the ball, you have to play it safe side. But yes, these are themes, but a manager, I guess, maybe this is more to Glenn, some managers are adaptable. They play what the opposition give you and play the game. Some managers stick and stay true to their philosophy of playing out and refuse to kind of change it, and that's their beliefs, because if you change the way you've come out and told everybody, actually you look weak as probably a manager, maybe, I don't know, but this is what he thinks is right.
Yeah. But
it's not working maybe with the goalkeeper, or... I
think, you know, I don't know what goes... I'm not privy to what goes on in the week at training, but I think you've got to have an open feedback from the players, particularly from Forster. Is he happy doing that? And, you know, there's certain times in the game when you can start a game and maybe play forward a little bit, and then as teams settle down and get into the game, play out from the back from there. Not every time. You know, it's repeat every time. Even if they're 1-0 up with 1 minute to go, they still play out from the back. Now, I don't get that. I really don't. It's about winning football matches. Yeah, entertain and play well. But there's certain times in a game when Arsenal yesterday, 1-0 up, they saw the game out. Man United didn't get a sniff late on. If Tottenham was playing 1-0 up against United, I bet United would have had 3 chances to maybe get back in the game. Now, that's a philosophy that the players have got to have a little say on that. Are we really happy doing that? And when there's a goalkeeper that's quite happy, Vicario, with the ball at his feet, suddenly somebody else has come in, Forster, who's not so happy. You slightly got to change, surely.
Yeah, it was interesting because when they had the ball in the back of the net, Bournemouth, and then it was disallowed for offside against Evan Nielsen, the first thing they did with retake from the free kick was play out from the back. And you said at the time, watching it to me, he's doing it again.
Yeah.
So they're entrenched in that philosophy. It's like no matter what.
No, and when you go direct, that first clip we saw them go direct, they lost possession again. Why? Because when they went direct, there was players still setting up as if they were going to pass out the back. If you're going to play, you need a fight for the second ball anyway. There's no players in there. So even that is not going to work for you by just going direct. Everyone's got to be on board when you're going to go forward, when you're going to get a balance right, or when you're going to play out. If you're not going to play out, that back four needs to shift up a little bit. Your midfield shifts up, and you've got some people there to combat and be physical and try and win the ball in a different way. It hasn't always got to be a perfect goal from the goalkeeper right the way through the pitch, surely. And the risk, for me, with not just Tottenham, for a lot of clubs at the moment, the risk and the reward is just miles apart.
We were joking, weren't we, about at the end of the season, how many goals will play from, at the end, how many will be playing out from the back. I mean, as we mentioned, Southampton might be quite high up there, but I'd say there's a lot of teams in the Premier League that at the end of it will go, how many goals did we give away from playing out from the back and putting our goalkeeper under pressure?
And it's a pattern, and I don't like that pattern. I don't think anyone likes that pattern, but it's being repeated and repeated, and it probably ain't going to stop unless the coaches say and the managers say, look, we've got to tinker with this a little bit. Certain clubs can get away with it because they've got players at the back that can control, and a goalkeeper that's happy to have that. He feels a part of that team with his feet, but some goalkeepers are not happy to do it, really.
Well, Tottenham's form and their philosophy is going to come into stark focus for their next game, a London derby against Chelsea. Obviously, very much in form right now. They've still got Liverpool to come before Christmas. And that's where you've got to feel that they've got to almost steel themselves, be ready for those challenges. They have to be much improved for those games.
Chelsea are flying. Great result yesterday. Confidence in that they flipped their team. You'd say that's more their Europa Conference team. So they're all confident, all firing. Going in then to the Europa there, a quick turnaround, and then Southampton, okay, but then it's Man United and Liverpool, so that probably inconsistent feature will continue to happen because you expect them to beat Southampton.
Karen, the worry for me is Southampton. It's Forest. The big games, they'll get up for them.
You don't worry about them?
Yeah, they've got to play well against them, of course, but they'll get up. They'll be up for them.
That must be so frustrating, though, for any Spurs fan, though, isn't it?
You're not going to make much progress by doing that, are you?
No, you won't get consistency like that, without a doubt. But it's on the mental side as well as the tactical and the slight things. Going forward, sometimes they're great to watch. They're brilliant, and I love the way they play. Sometimes I really do. But you've got to have a balance between attack and defence.
Yeah. Can I just ask you one last thing on this? And, we're 14 games into the season. You're saying we're not seeing any difference from the way Spurs are playing right now. The inconsistency remains. Can you see Ange being successful, yes or no?
If it continues exactly like this...
But at the minute, we're not seeing any difference, are we?
No, if it continues like this, there's only one pattern. I'm going back to patterns again, and that will be that the inconsistency they'll remain floating in that mid-table. They need to be pushing for Champions League. That's what the owners would want. They want to be pushing for Europe, at least. They've got a long way, because there's a lot of teams now, Fulham, Wolves, all these teams, even though they're down the bottom, Bournemouth, Brighton, there's some smashing teams out there, and every game you have to fight like hell to get a point.
Well, Bournemouth are above Spurs now in the table after today's win. Let's hear from the Cherries boss, Andoni Iraola.
Anthony, well done. You've had some great games at this club this season, but where do you place tonight?
I think it's been a good one, no? Considering the opposition, I think we've had the clearest chances. Probably we didn't kill the game in the second half where we were having the clear chances, and luckily for us we could finish the job, but it was a moment during the game where you say, if we don't kill them, they are going to punish us.
What pleased you most of all?
I think probably our defensive performance, considering the amount of goals they score. We didn't really give them a lot of clear chances. I think everyone defensively has been very good.
Player of the match, would you agree, Dean Huijsen?
Yeah, I think he has been very, very good. Defensively, he has added a goal. I think we can use, obviously, his height in the set plays, confident on the ball, and is a really good news for us.
Bournemouth's youngest ever scorer in the Premier League, the match winner tonight. Have you found a talent there?
I think he needs, and he's demanding the opportunities, and I think he will have them more now, because also we had Marcos that is going to be injured sometimes, so it's good news for us that he has shown this level.
Are your team growing in confidence? Are they gathering momentum with this type of win?
I don't trust too much in this momentum thing or confidence. I think the league is so tight, the details are so small from a win to a loss. So we have to reset. Now we have a difficult game, Ipswich away, with just 2 days of recovery. And we have to continue thinking and not thinking the standings on the points. No, just compete every game.
Not even thinking, OK, we can better last season's record points total. What about that? What about that target setting?
For me, it's too far. The end of the season is too far. I look Ipswich, then recover a little bit, West Ham, we cannot look much further.
But are you a better team, do you think, this season than last? The levels that you're able to reach?
We will have to show it. If we finish with more 48, we will be. Otherwise, we will not. So we really don't know.
But a great night for Bournemouth again.
Yes, a great night. We are having great nights this season. We are, especially at home, difficult opposition, and we are taking the points, yes.
Thank you, well done.
Thank you, absolutely.
Yes, they've added another scalp to those of Arsenal and Manchester City at the Vitality Stadium. I mean, they just continue to go from strength to strength, building on what was already a record-breaking season for them last season.
Yeah, he's humble, isn't he, the manager?
He doesn't want to say too much about the future.
I think he's very level-headed, doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. And again, we were just chatting off air, it wasn't an easy start when he first come in as a Bournemouth manager, but when he's gone through that rocky period, he's taken them from strength to strength. But he is right to say, look, this is a difficult league. I'm going to go game by game and see where this group is. And at the moment, 9th, they're in a good position.
Yeah, and above Spurs, I know, Glenn, which is not something that you're anticipating at this stage of the season. But you've got to give Iraola credit here at this point.
Amazing job. When he first come in, it wasn't all hunky-dory, was it? He had a poor start and everyone was going, why did they sack Gary O'Neill? And, have big question marks. He's turned it round. And that is time on the training ground and time with his players and then good recruitment. And that's similar to Brighton. You've got to say those two clubs, they come from the South Coast, but they're building bridges all the time. You see that they're actually connecting. You see that they're improving. They're stepping stones to get better and better. And it's going north rather than sort of south or just hovering. So credit where it's due in a league that is so difficult. I mean, we're not even halfway through. No. Let's be fair. And it's like the Grand National. Would you pick your winner when you're halfway round the Grand National? No, it's still a long way to go.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
And Bournemouth might be forgiven for being a bit disappointed afterwards to think that they only scored one today.
Yeah, obviously ecstatic with the clean sheet, but had a hatful of chances, to really make it an even worse night for Tottenham. But he was disappointed there. Just off the side of the post, Evan Nielsen obviously came in to replace Dominic Solanke, and he's brilliant at pressing and creating something. Again, another one, Tavernier, he's got to get over the ball. I mean, it is a difficult one, it bounces up and it comes at pace, but he's just leaning back, and that lean back then sees it over the bar. But, this was now 1-0. Could they have made it even more? Good little tidy play, but good blocks. But you're kind of thinking, that has to hit the target, you have to score that. And you're happy with a 1-0, but he'll be frustrated to say, come on, we're better than that. And if we want to keep progressing, it's got to be 2s and 3s and 4s if we've got the chances.
You could see there, they had Tottenham scrambling, didn't they?
They did. In a period of the game, for 10 minutes, they must have created about 5 or 6 chances. On the back of that was a few that Spurs gave away as well. And it was a 10-minute spell where, wow, Spurs could be 4 or 5 down, where when you're 1 down and if you're in control of the game where Tottenham should have been, they should have been the team on the front foot with that peppering Bournemouth's goal. But they were nowhere near that. They were on the back foot. And there's lots of times there where you see them getting down the Tottenham's left side. The left-back and Doggy's gone forward in midfield. And the young lad Bergvall's having to play left-back. The centre-backs are being dragged out. Yeah. But that spell, Spurs were all over the place.
Yeah. Back-to-back wins for the first time this season. It's the perfect setup, really, as they head into the festive madness. OK, time for a quick break.